So I finally have the Civic back in the garage, but that's not what we're working on tonight. Tonight we're pulling this engine back out. This is the one that I threw together to throw in this car, and then we put it in this car and it smoked a lot. I'll show you when I pull it out. You can see the ports. So the valve guides are done. So I'm gonna pull it apart. I'm putting rods and pistons in it also. So we're gonna pull it apart. I'm gonna take it down in the basement. I just can't carry it all in one piece to the basement by myself. So I'm gonna take the head off, carry that separate. So we're gonna pull this apart now. And we have big plans for this car this year. I'm trying to find a metal shop so I can put a weight plate down underneath here. I'm gonna get a piece of cardboard and trace it out and then take it somewhere that I can have them cut me a piece of metal that will go down there. And then our intercooler will be able to sit down on the weight plate. Same with our radiator. We're gonna make a tubular support here and get rid of all this metal. It'll just be a little bar, and then the bumper will just clip right on. I have to get a different steering rack because this is a junkyard power steering one. We need a manual. So I'm gonna get this engine apart now. And then we'll probably track down an S2000 master cylinder for the clutch. It'll make the reservoir go on the master. It'll clean this area up a lot.
See how the valve back there is wet? The one next to it is dry. That one's wet. That one's kind of wet. Those two are dry. Those two are dry. I haven't looked at the intake side yet. They look dry. They look dry. Dry. So I believe there's still oil in this also. So we need to drain that out somehow. I guess lift it up and pull the drain plug. I had to stop to show you how clean this oil is. It only ran for, you know, an hour or so. Brand new. This is the engine I built too, so we'll get to see what it really looks like inside. No clearances, nothing. Just threw it together with used parts. Look how clean that is. I waste so much oil. My main oil thing over there is full, and I just emptied it, but hopefully we can put some in here and it doesn't overflow too quick. So looking good so far. This is a JDM head, believe it or not. I know it's super dirty. This is the one that had the bad valve, obviously the valve seals, which we're fixing, and it had the bad piston rings in the original engine. So, well, when I pull this apart, you'll see what I have in it. But this has ARP head studs also, so we gotta pull those off. It's an RBB3 head. There's oil everywhere. We're gonna take this head off, take it downstairs, and I'm gonna pull the valves out, and we're gonna do the new seals. I got the tools for it. And we're gonna do it in the house where it's clean, not in the dirt. Looks brand new. The Frank homemade engine.
Turns great. So have the oil pump on too. Heck yeah. So here we are in my basement. I have a little kitchen in my basement that I don't use. As you can see, I do car part stuff in it. I'm cleaning this up right now. Got a table here. We got the engine block. I got a bunch of tools, and we're gonna start stripping down this bottom end, and then we're gonna do the head and get her back together. So this is the engine that I put together with spare parts a couple months ago. Ran for, I don't know, 1 heat cycle, and then it smoked, so I pulled it apart. All right, so we're pulling it apart now, and here's the oil pan. A lot of crap in there. And I could definitely feel it. I don't see any bearing material, but it's definitely something going on in there. So we'll pull it apart the rest of the way. Like I said, it ran for maybe an hour tops. Never even drove it, just idled and revved it. Everything looks good so far. And these are even bearings I reused, and they still look pretty good for being reused. I have a little crap thing right there, but can't feel it. So these were brand new piston rings though, and these things move pretty good. They definitely weren't that good when I put them in. Even better now. So this hopefully is just all break-in material from like the piston rings, seating and all that. And let's flip it over, make sure the cylinder walls look good. And they're looking good. It only ran for, you know, a little bit. We're still going to take the main off because those were new bearings when I put those in. I'd like to inspect them and see how the clearances were, because we are reusing this block, and I will have to show you my new rods and pistons. They're upstairs. That's gonna be sweet unboxing for you. They look pretty good. I think they're good enough to send it. Crank still looks good. So I think we're good. These looked really good. Oil pump looks good. All right, so we're done with the block for now. Now we're gonna move on to the head. We're gonna clean it up, and then I need to pull all the springs out and the valves out to put new valve seals in, because you could see, well, you're not gonna be able to now, but you were able to see, I showed you in a previous clip that the valve guide is letting oil down into the cylinder, and that's why this engine smoked. Can't see it now, but I've showed you before. These two were bad, really bad. So tonight I'm going to be rebuilding this head. I've started pulling the valves out and the seals because they're bad. The guides, we'll check them out, but you can see how dirty it is underneath it. So I already have 2 out. I'm going to keep them organized if I can. And I also got some valve lapping material, and we're going to seat them in just a little bit so they're cleaned up. So I have it set up over here. Hopefully it doesn't fall. The cat knocks it over or anything crazy. And I also have lights rigged up from the garage. I took these 2 out of the garage because these just aren't bright enough. So I took those out of the garage just for this project. Got them all out. Now we gotta clean up all this crap. Got the seals out, put new ones in, and we'll be good to go. So I found the valve seals. There's 2 different ones. The blue ones we're gonna put on the cold side, which is this side, and then the brown ones we're gonna put on the hot side. Got it cleaned up, you know, just sprayed it off a little bit. Throw those things in, then we'll wipe off our valves, and then we'll seat them. Just a little bit of lapping compound, some valve grinding, just enough to like clean off. I'll show you. Like if I could just clean that up right there, it'll seal a lot better. I mean, you can see it's a little wide there. I don't know the exact measurements on a K series, but looks a little wide, but I think we'll be all right. We'll be all right for stock head, just servicing it. So I have 2 of them in. I'm using this tool. It just slides over the guide. This slides right into the, slides over the seal. This slides into the guide. And then I'm hitting it with a hammer and they're sitting down in there. I don't know if anybody notices, but I forgot to put the bottom retainer on. It has to go under the spring. Spring has to go first, has to go under, then the seal, then the spring. So I've been taking them off one by one, trying not to ruin them, and putting the bottom on. All right, so these first 2 were pretty hard, even the third, but I figured out a better way. I put the keepers in the retainer first, and then push it down and push it back up. And they seem to be all right so far. So it's going pretty smooth now. I have the whole intake side down. I have 2 of the exhaust valves done, and we're moving right along. I've learned to actually put the keepers in the retainer and then push them all down past the lock and then back up. It's been the easiest so far. So I'm putting the crank back in. I have the bearings in, the thrust washers in, everything all cleaned up. We're gonna put some assembly lube on these bearings real quick. Then we'll drop the crank in. Then we have to RVT this and sandwich around. piston rings here. Got them all laid out in order. We're going pretty loose because they came already pretty loose. So we might have a little blow by. We might need to add a lot more boost. But I'm going 0.020 on the top, and then the 26s, they're staying 26 because that's how they came out of the box. I'd like to go, you know, a little less, like a 24 max, but we'll be all right. Talk to my tuner and we should be fine. You're getting fat. You look fat. Moo. Moo. Alrighty, got it all timed up. Got a dot there in between the gold. Dot there in the gold. I do have the pins in the back here to hold the cams, but you still sometimes have to put your ratchet on here and twist them a little bit. And then there's a dot down here on the gold. Right.
You can see the dot in between the chain link there. Yep, right there. And then also, arrow up, arrow up. So we're gonna turn it over and see what happens. It won't turn over. Oh, gotta take the pins out. I just said I had them in. All right, now the pins are out. Story.